There's an old saying that goes, if it's not broken, you don't fix it. Hi, I'm Matt Grayson, and today Photozine TV are looking at the Canon PowerShot G10 to find out exactly why Canon are getting rid of probably the most popular prosumer camera in the UK today. Upgrades to the G10 include a new 14.7mm CCD, new Digic 4 processor, which is also found on the EOS 50D and 5D Mark II, and also a 28mm wide-angle zoom lens. However, the zoom only is 5 times optical as opposed to 6 times optical that you found on the previous model. However, I think most noticeably is the design itself. From a distance it looks roughly the same as the G9, but you'll notice this quite large stack of dials on the top here. Now if we move on to the top, you'll see that this is to accommodate the command dial, or best shot dial as Canon call it, and also the ISO dial, which used to be on this side but now has been replaced by the exposure compensation. Other slight variations include the on-off power button now being changed to black with a little green light instead of the previous silver. That's also happened to the playback button, which is on the back there. But these aren't really bad things, and in fact the camera doesn't actually look that bad even though it's got dials stacked upon dials. It's not an unattractive camera, although it's never been one that could win any beauty pageants. It's actually quite a nice camera to use as well. The menu system has been upgraded and is now clearer, larger and easier to see. As well as the buttons being quite a bit bigger than the previous models, and also the icons have now been put onto the buttons instead of to the side of them, so you know exactly which one does which. The G10 still incorporates the similar functions and menu systems as what the G9 has. The function button will give you access down the left hand side to the quick options, in this case the white balance where we are now. You've also got your colours for vivid, neutral, sepia, black and white, portrait and landscape, which are the picture styles on the DSLRs. You've got the bracket mode, flash compensation, a neutral density filter, which is a really good idea, and your image size and image quality settings right there. There is a RAW setting on the camera as well, if that's how you prefer to shoot. In the menu system, you've got your lovely, nice new graphics here, which are a lot easier to see. You can move up and down just by using the D-pad on the back, or you can use the rotating wheel there instead to move from side to side and up and down on the options. Just pressing OK goes into whichever option it is you choose. Now you'll find that most of the menu systems are pretty basic, unless you get ones like this which don't have an option next to them, in which case when you go into them they have another menu within them. So the menu system is actually quite extensive, it just doesn't look it from the front, which is better for people who are just coming into using the camera for the first time. They're not going to be overwhelmed by lots and lots of different things to do. Now, as I said before, the Canon only has a 5 times optical zoom. When that's incorporated with the digital zoom, it gets up to 20 times. This is quite good, but it does tend to break down the quality of the image. Now, while I was speaking to one of the technical guys at the launch of the G10, he mentioned that you can actually get a 20 times optical zoom from it by simply messing around with the resolution. And I'm going to show you exactly how you do that. The optical zoom is signified by that white bar there, and the digital zoom is a blue one. Now that obviously starts to crop into the centre and then interpolates to make sure that we have a large enough size image, but then also breaks it down with interpolation not being very precise. If resolution isn't such a big deal for you though, you can go into your function area, down to the quality settings, and choose down to the lowest one. It's entirely up to you which setting you choose, but you can go down to the lowest one, and then you'll notice that the zoom has changed into a yellow bar. Now that is not a digital zoom, it's what Canon call the safety zoom, and what it allows you to do is zoom in using just a fraction, the small fraction of what the sensor is actually using in terms of pixels. So the camera is only using at this stage a very low amount of pixels, and we'll say, you know, it's using, let's say for argument's sake, this square. This is the sensor, and it's using this square size of the actual sensor in terms of pixels. What it means is it's only going to use that portion to zoom in on. So you're going to get a lower quality, but only because of the resolution. You're not going to be getting a lower quality because of interpolation. Another interesting feature that the Canon PowerShot G10 has is self-timer face detection. Now that's accessed by going into the self-timer mode on the bottom of the D-pad there and choosing the self-timer with the little face. We say OK, and then we simply just set the camera going, it'll start beeping. Now what this will not do is take a picture until there is a face in the image. Square on, and there it takes that one, and another, and a third. And there you have 3 images with self-timer. Brilliant for if you're a self-portrait photographer, or if you just want to get in on your own family shots. I've quickly set up this macro scene here so we can show you the macro feature of the PowerShot G10. The G9 had a flexible autofocus zone, which I demonstrated on the written review on ephotozine.com. Now the G10 has also got the same thing, but the great thing about the power of video is that I can actually show you it working. So what we need to do is we first of all choose our macro function, which is just in the macro button right there. We say OK to that, and we've got our flower right there. We've already got low ISO, turn the flash off and set the white balance up. We're then going into the focus zone button, which is on the top left of the navigation pad there, and we're just going to move it around here. Now this is great for people who enjoy focus stacking techniques, so we can set that going there. We can focus that, that'll come up as a close-up just so we can see make sure it's in bang in focus, which it is, and then we're going to take that shot. Then what we're going to do is we're going to move up to, we're going to basically just move along the ridge of the car there. There we go. We'll get that in again. Then we choose the frame. And just move along the ridge. That's in focus, so we shoot that. And so on until we get to the end. Now this focus frame is quite big. When you're in the area, when you press this button here, display here says that you can actually change the size of it and make it a little bit smaller if you've got quite fine detail focus areas that you want to get there. And then focusing on that will still again bring it up close up so you can see, make sure that it's sharp. So the perks that come with the G10 are actually quite good. You've got the Digic 4 processor, you've got the 28mm wide angle lens, you've also got the higher resolution if you're going to use it. The problem with the resolution though is it comes on the same size sensor as the G9, which means you're going to get increased noise at high ISO. And indeed you do. Look at the full test that we did on ephotozine.com for the proof. The low ISO though is got extremely good noise control. The HDR fans out there are going to love the bracketing dial that's on the top. Don't worry too much about the unusual design of the dial upon dial on the top of the camera. It's not actually that unattractive once you get used to it. It just comes as a little bit of a shock when you first see it. One thing I will say is the new technology that they've put into the camera is very good, including the face detection self-timer, which is quite good fun for the self-portrait users out there. It's just a shame that they haven't coped with the noise problems that you get at the high ISO. Take a look at the camera, see what you think, take a look at ephotozine.com and let me know your feedback on the comments area.